Good Friday afternoon to you. It's 4 o'clock, time for Sports for CLE. Thanks for joining us. Plenty of Browns to talk about. A little later on, we'll be joined by Lance Reisland. A film breakdown of some of the new names, all of the free agent signings. Lance Reisland will have a film breakdown. Randy Gurzi will also join us to talk plenty about free agency, what the Browns have done, where they may be headed. In Berea today and yesterday, Juan Thornhill, the new safety that the Browns have signed to a contract, a 3-year deal, $21 million. Thornhill talked about his impressions of the Browns from his time with the Kansas City Chiefs, as well as the reception he's gotten via social media from Browns fans.
So with Cleveland, I remember playing them, and I just remember them being a team that was like willing to run down your throat and punch you in the mouth like early. So that just shows that they have the ability to get to the big game. And I feel like I'm that type of player that can add to the defense and help them get to where they want to go. And I mean, I'm excited to play next to Myles Garrett and Grant Delpit and those guys, because I've been watching a little bit of their film, and I just feel like they're really good players that can help us win. The Browns fans have been amazing. Like, they've been messaging me. They've been showing all of their support since the day that, the announcement came out. But I'm super excited about it because I've heard many good things about the Dawg Pound. The fans out here are crazy, and that's what I love to be a part of. When I come out that tunnel, I want the fans to jack me up and make me ready to run through a wall, and that's what I hear about Cleveland, and I'm excited.
Again, Juan Thornhill, 4 years in the NFL, all of them with the Kansas City Chiefs, 27 years old. Again, another guy that's kind of ascending, so he fits the profile of what the Browns like to get via free agency. He had a chance to meet with Jim Schwartz, and he talked about how he fits into that defense, how Jim Schwartz plans to use him, as well as what he sees as his game from the safety position.
I've always been taught to be that guy, to never allow your coach to take you off the field. So I would see me as being that guy that can do everything. He can cover, be down in the box, make plays. He can blitz, sack the quarterback. I want to be that guy that can take control of a game and go get the ball when it's in the air and cause fumbles when it's that time to make that big play. We was up there talking, I would say maybe like 30, 45 minutes or something like that. But he got me pumped up. That's all I can say. Like, already just like talking a little bit about football, the scheme, how he see me in the defense, and he got me ready to go for sure.
Well, how does he see you? And if it's center field or deep safety, just how comfortable are you in that role?
I mean, I'm very comfortable. I mean, I think I'm that guy that can cover from sideline to sideline. No matter where the ball's going to go, I can see myself going to get it. But I can tell that he likes those guys that can do multiple jobs, being able to cover man-to-man, being down in the box, playing in a deep half and in a third. So he definitely see me as that guy that can do all of the different roles.
Again, Juan Thornhill, newest Brown in Berea, meeting with the front office and the coaching staff. Thornhill is a guy that plays free safety, something the Browns haven't had in a few years. The other thing about him, he played in 2 Super Bowls in his 4 years with the Kansas City Chiefs, won 2 Super Bowls. He talked about knowing what it takes to get to the Super Bowl and what he sees here in Cleveland.
I mean, when you're a part of a team if you're a part of a team that's being able to go to multiple Super Bowls and win multiple Super Bowls, you're willing to take that wherever you go. I have the experience winning 2 of them and being in 3. So I know what it feels like to be in that big game, and I know what it takes to win. So that's what I'm going to bring with me. I'm going to bring that energy, and I'm going to bring it to my teammates as well. And if I see someone like slacking, I'm gonna let them know, like, that's not the way to go about it. Like, let's pick it up so we can get to where we want to be. I mean, like I said before, like, all of the pieces are here. Got a really good quarterback, receivers. The defense is super strong. I feel like all of the pieces are here, and we have that capability of getting there and making a splash in the playoffs and making it to the Super Bowl. And I have all confidence in that.
Again, Juan Thornhill, new safety for the Browns, met with the media today. Let's take a look at some of the other free agencies and what the national media is talking about. NFL free agency best contracts. This is from ESPN.com. And one of the best is Okunrankwo, the Obi Okoronkwo, the edge rusher that the Browns got, 3 years, $22 million, $12.5 million guaranteed. And they're saying Okoronkwo could break out later in his career the way Shaq Barrett did with the Bucs in 2019. Had 5 sacks with the Texans this year, but that came playing just 44% of the snaps, which was a career high on a bad team. So again, a young guy that the Browns are going to line up opposite Myles Garrett and give him the opportunity to be on the field more. A younger guy, an ascending guy, also played with the Rams, so he has a Super Bowl experience. Has played in a Super Bowl earlier in his career. So Okoronkwo and Juan Thornhill, guys from winning cultures, not by mistake either. Browns trying to add to that defense and rebuild it. Most improved position group from the 2023 NFL free agency so far. This is from Pro Football Focus, and they say the Browns' defensive line is the most improved position group so far in free agency. And the rationale for too many years now, Browns' defensive line has been Myles Garrett, and no one else makes an impact. Reasonable attempts to address that in the past or gamble on the upside have almost all come out badly, but their investments on that line this year appear to be very good moves. You could say the year that it worked out with defensive tackle with Malik Jackson and Malik McDowell, the year the Browns went to the playoffs. They tried to sign free agents. Andrew Billings, he opted out from COVID and just wasn't effective. Last year they went with young guys, and it just didn't go well. So I give the front office credit because they saw what they tried to do. They were relying on young guys. This year they're bringing in, a big-name guy in Dalvin Tomlinson, and then we'll get to a couple of the other pieces. If the young guys play well, that's a great problem to have. If you have too many guys who are competent and can play on the defensive line, Jim Schwartz will find a way to wave them in and put them in a position to be successful. The thing you can't have is not enough. And clearly, the Browns didn't have enough defensive tackle a season ago. That's the reason their run defense was just not good. This is from Bleacher Report, grading Thursday's free agent moves. And this is going to be 2 more of those guys on the line. So the Browns signed defensive tackle Maurice Hurst. They graded a C. 27-year-old missed the entire 2022 season after tearing his bicep during training camp. If Hurst can stay healthy, the Browns may see more glimpses of the player who flashed in his first 2 NFL campaigns with the Las Vegas Raiders. The Browns then also signed Tristan Hill, a defensive tackle. In total, Hill suited up for only 31 games in 4 years and has yet to play more than 228 defensive snaps in a single season. The Browns can only hope to tap into the 24-year-old's potential if he can stay healthy and maintain his composure. All right, I get neither of these guys. They graded a D. I get neither of these guys as a huge, big-name free agent. But again, they're guys that have NFL experience. In Hurst's case, and really in Tristan Hill's case too, it's really low risk. It's not like they're spending $4 or $5 million on these guys. It's low risk, high reward, guys that have shown they can play in the league if they can stay healthy. That's the reason they're available. But I disagree that those are C or D moves. Again, I think Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, they didn't like being caught without veterans a season ago. They went young, and it cost them. These guys have NFL experience. Doesn't mean they're necessarily going to be great. They give you a buffer, somebody that can do an adequate job if the young guys can't step up and take advantage of the opportunity when the opportunity presents itself. So I like the signings. I see the thought process again. And I just don't agree that they're C or D signings. They're average signings, and if they play well, they could be A or B signings without question. All right, before we go to break, some news about a former Brown. Mary Kay Cabot reports, Greedy Williams has agreed to terms on a free agent deal with the Philadelphia Eagles. So Williams leaving, not a surprise, not able to really ever stay healthy and live up to that second-round pick. Did show glimpses, and you certainly hope Greedy Williams can stay healthy and be a productive cornerback for the Philadelphia Eagles for a number of years. But the Eagles signed former Browns cornerback Greedy Williams. We're going to step aside, take a quick timeout. Other side of the break, Lance Reisland from the Plain Dealer, cleveland.com, joins us. A film breakdown of Juan Thornhill and some of the free agent signings that the Browns have made. We'll show you what they can do, where Lance thinks they fit. Lance Reisland film breakdown straight ahead. Stay with us on Sports4CLE.
Come back to go forward. Back to learning new things. Back to pursuing your dreams. Tri-C has flexible learning options to fit your life. And every year, more than 1,000 local companies provide Tri-C students with real-world learning. The right education can boost your lifetime earning power by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Start now with a college education you can afford. Tri-C, where futures begin.
The Great Lakes Collectors Convention, presented by Greeny Sports Cards, takes over the Fieldhouse in Independence, Ohio, where the passions of sports fans, collectors, and sports talk enthusiasts collide. 50,000 square feet of ball card bliss. Hundreds of display tables. Card Shop Live Theater with interactive appearances from the region's most notable sports media. Great cards, great location, great show. Tickets on sale now at greenysportscards.com.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students, kindergarten through 12th grade, can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine. We continue talking Browns here on Sports4CLE. We're going to take a look at some tape breakdown of some of the names the Browns have signed as free agents. Whenever we do our film or tape breakdown, we welcome in Lance Reisland from the Plain Dealer as well as cleveland.com. Lance, appreciate the time. Let's start with Okoronkwo. That's a guy that a number of national people feel for the contract and the talent that you have and the age. Could be one of the top 3, 4, 5 signings in free agency thus far.
Yeah, he's ascending too. Heard a lot of people talk about he's only getting better, and I couldn't agree more watching the film. This is his first real action this year where he started most of the season. He's extremely twitchy. You watch these cut-ups here. First of all, he's going to win with his hands. Quick move inside. He's not a traditional DN where he's going to be anchor in there. He's a twitchy guy, a sudden guy, almost like an outside linebacker in a 3-4. You're going to see him here. He has great pursuit, so he understands football. Chasing people down here. This is just an effort play where he's going to run downfield 30 yards and make a play. You're never going to see him take a play off. He's very impressive. Again, here's where he wins his hands, causes a fumble. Very good speed rush, works a long arm spin move. Here he just wins the speed. Again, that's his primary move. And then again, just understanding screens. He understands in the NFL at all levels, if you're unblocked, it's for a reason. So he recognized this thing. And this is one of my favorite plays that I got to see him, just his all-out effort. So a very good signing by the Browns. Again, he's very twitchy. I think the number one reason he's with the Browns is he can win one-on-one matchups. And that's what the Browns have been looking for. He does have to work on setting the edge a little bit, but I think Schwartz will rep that to death. He also lines up in a wider technique, which helps him. But yeah, very, very good signing. He's going to be very, very productive for the Browns.
6'2", 253 pounds is the measurables on Okoronkwo. You mentioned the speed that he has. That would seem to me, if you're in a wide 9, that's going to be a long night. If you got Garrett and him on these sides, that seems like the recipe for some long days for tackles that they're trying to block the Browns DNs.
Well, yeah, he has incredible get-off. So, again, when you watch his film, there's not a ton of moves. He's just extremely athletic, and he kind of reacts to what he sees. So you're going to see him constantly try to win the edge with speed. And in that wide 9, that wide 5, depending if it's a tackle or tight end, he is going to win off the edge first. If he can't win off the edge, his first counter is that long inside arm. So he's going to get that inside arm with great leverage. And then if the tackle sets in there pretty well, he'll spin inside, and he has a violent spin inside. And it's kind of that same move. He'll work a little head and shoulders once in a while, but he's very basic in his pass rush. He's just really, really athletic, and he plays with a great motor.
All right, a defensive tackle that the Browns have signed, a veteran, Dalvin Tomlinson, 6'3", 325 pounds. What do we see here?
Well, this is when he's with the Giants, so it does a great job. He does two things really, really well. One is he's going to recreate the line of scrimmage on every single snap. He's not going to be a super exciting guy. He's not going to be the guy that makes splashy plays. He's a guy who's going to eat up blockers play after play. This is by far, I think, the most important signing for the Browns this offseason. He gives the Browns that big defensive tackle who can just stay in there, take on double teams, protect those linebackers. The cuts we have here, he does a couple of things. First one, he just holds the guy up. Next, he's on the nose. You see, he does have some quickness, but his pass rush basically is the same as his run stopping. He's going to get into that guard or center. He's going to push him back. He's going to extend. He's going to play with great leverage. He's got really violent hands. He's a monster. He's 6'3". He's all 325, 330. He's going to be hard to move. Those double teams won't be able to vertically move him. He'll protect JOK and those linebackers. He is a huge upgrade inside in terms of stopping the run. He's only going to be a two-down guy probably, but that's okay. That's what the Browns need.
Yeah, and I'm with you. A guy that can absorb double teams and keep the linebackers clean is a huge asset because the Browns have fast, athletic linebackers. You don't want guards on top of them. Earlier in the show, we heard from Juan Thornhill, free safety, a younger guy. I like this guy a lot. Played with the Chiefs. What do you see from Thornhill?
First thing, he can tackle, so he runs the alley and tackle. So he's going to do a ton of things really, really well. He's going to plays well in space. He's got great ball skills. He's got great ball awareness. He's got great spatial awareness. Again, he's can play in that one high hat. So in this Schwartz defense, he's going to be back there by himself a bunch, and he's got to be able to go sideline to sideline. He's got to be a great tackler. He's got to be able to cover in man if he needs to. He's got to help over the top if they're in a 1-3 look. They're also going to play some pattern match cover 3 that he's got to communicate with the other corners. It seems like he's a guy with a great knowledge for the game, understands route concepts and depths, really, really good with the ball in the air. He high points it. He's good at contested catches. He plays with a great motor. Again, a young guy who's ascending. I think this is a great pickup. He's a guy we had talked about a couple weeks ago. I really, really like him. He kind of fits the bill. There's a number of guys that do. He's a guy who's going to be a ball hawk back there in center field.
The other thing about him that we heard from him, he's played in 2 Super Bowls. He's been in the league 4 years out of Virginia. So if you're able to get into Virginia, you're a smart guy. So he has played in 2 Super Bowls. He comes from a winning culture. I like that. I like that a lot. He knows what it takes to get to the ultimate goal of every NFL player.
Yeah, so you're talking about, for me, that's practice habits, that's understanding how to practice. So the season is a marathon, but that January sprint to the Super Bowl, in terms of he understands how to practice, he understands how to rest his body on and off the field, he understands what it takes in the film room. When you've done it, you can kind of lay that plan, that blueprint for the rest of your teammates. So I think it is important too. He sounds very well spoken. He's really understands the game. I think it's an incredible pickup for the Browns.
Yeah, I'm with you. And you know what? Let's take a look at another defensive tackle, Maurice Hurst, 6'2", 280 pounds. Hasn't played in a couple years, tore a bicep. I like this signing a lot. It's low risk, high reward. What do you see when you look at Maurice Hurst?
Well, he didn't play last year because of torn biceps. Coming out of Michigan, he had a heart issue that kind of kept him out of the combine, which I'm sure kind of scared some people away. But this is a guy with a high upside. He can play inside or outside, which is big in Schwartz's defense. He can play that 3 technique or that wide 5 or wide 9. He's got great burst. He's got to stay healthy. He's had 78 career tackles. He's had 8 sacks. So, as compared to some of the guys that they've had, he does have experience. And he's a guy, again, who can play multiple positions. I think he could be a rotational guy. He's a big body. He plays with really good leverage. He's got great lateral movement. He's very good with his hands. He's got a good pass rush plan, plays the run very well. So there's some things that, for me, I think it's about health with him, and then kind of finding the right, sometimes change of scenery kind of gets you in the right spot. But again, a guy with a high upside, and doesn't cost the Browns a lot. So I think it's a really good pickup.
I agree with you. And the other thing is Jim Schwartz will identify what he thinks this player can excel, and we'll ask him to do what he does well. It won't ask him to do the things he doesn't do. Again, it's a rotational piece that you're trying to build out the defensive tackle room, because Jim Schwartz wants to play 7, 8, 9 defensive linemen.
Absolutely. And that rotation, those guys, especially if Schwartz will do a lot with situational stuff. So big guys in there on first and second down, then rotate some guys in there on third down and some nickel looks, and they'll use multiple fronts with 3 down and 4 down and 5 down. So guys need to be flexible in their positions. They need to be flexible with their techniques. And these guys they're bringing in are all doing that. And they all have experience, so they understand NFL blocking schemes.
All right, the last guy that we're going to take a look at, Tristan Hill, 6'3", 311 pounds, has played with the Cardinals and the Cowboys. Again, this is a guy that it's a high reward, low risk type of deal. You're not asking him to be, necessarily even a starter. You're asking him to do some very specific skill set things. What do you see when you look at him on tape?
Well, again, he's 6'3", 311. His big thing coming out of college is he's had some issues with, relationships with his coaches, some overall attitude issues. Sometimes that goes away. These guys are young kids when they come in the league, so he's maturing into a young man. Again, great upside. Right here, you can see him take on a trap. He doesn't get upfield, so he's not trapped. Here, he's going to backdoor a zone play, which sometimes you want to get in front. The problem with backdooring is that sometimes you leave the linebackers. So, he's got to make sure he's coachable, make sure that he's doing the right things. But again, he's a classic 3 technique. He's big. He's got really good hands. He's got good lateral movement. He can rush the passer. There's certain things he does on film that are very exciting for a big guy. And again, a guy who's played some snaps in the NFL and has some experience. And I think he's, once again, a guy really, really high reward here with a guy that didn't cost the Browns much.
And again, with the last 2 guys, Lance, what you're trying to do is make it so you don't have to rely on young guys that aren't quite ready. I think last year they had younger guys at those lighter guys at those defensive tackles, and they just weren't quite ready for what the Browns needed them to do.
Well, yeah, especially when you come out of college. So I always say the high school to college, college to pro. So they're going against those are 22-year-old guys going against grown men. And sometimes you just need to get seasoned and need that experience. And especially, and I'm a huge believer in being able to take on a double team and get reached in zone. So that double team in the gap scheme or zone scheme and then reached in the zone scheme. And that takes a long time to kind of get used to turning into those doubles and being able to basically be boring. And sometimes as an NFL defensive tackle, you got to be boring and take on those guys so your linebackers can run and make the plays. When you're in college and then if you're an NFL type guy, you're better than everybody else. And then you get to the pros and they're grown men and you got to kind of restart. So again, I think experience, especially up front, is huge at the NFL level. You're talking guys who are 27 to 30 years old who've been lifting weights and have families and understand the game. And I think that's where the Browns are headed. I think they've really improved their defensive line.
Lance Reisland and I are going to step aside, take a quick timeout. So the Browns have addressed some needs on the defensive side of the ball. Haven't done anything on offense, wide receiver or anything just yet. We're going to take a quick timeout. Lance and I will take a look at some pass catchers that might be on the Browns' radar. Sports4CLE will be right back. Stay with us.
Come back to go forward. Back to learning new things. Back to pursuing your dreams. Tri-C has flexible learning options to fit your life. And every year, more than 1,000 local companies provide Tri-C students with real-world learning. The right education can boost your lifetime earning power by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Start now with a college education you can afford. Tri-C, where futures begin.
The Great Lakes Collectors Convention, presented by Greenie Sports Cards, takes over the Fieldhouse in Independence, Ohio, where the passions of sports fans, collectors, and sports talk enthusiasts collide. 50,000 square feet of ball card bliss. Hundreds of display tables. Card Shop Live Theater with interactive appearances from the region's most notable sports media. Great cards, great location, great show. Tickets on sale now at greeniesportscards.com.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery, partners in education, where stars shine. We continue talking Browns with Lance Reisland from the Plain Dealer as well as cleveland.com. Let's head to the voicemail of Truth and Reason.
Hey, I think Andrew Berry's making some good decisions. I think you don't always have to have the most famous name. We need guys that can actually play, catch the ball. They better not re-sign Schwartz. He's no good. He's fast, but he's got butterfingers. So I think if we concentrate on the defense, we didn't have any defensive line at all. We also need special teams to pick up a pace. We need to be able to kick field goals. We need to be able to do punt returns as well. And we need a good wide receiver. Do not re-sign Odell Beckham. He already gave us the middle finger twice. He told people not to come to Cleveland. So all I say is go Brownies. I love my Browns. We just need to win the division. Go Brownies. Woo woo.
As always, appreciate all of the voicemails. Lance, I think Andrew Berry's done a nice job thus far in terms of addressing needs. I can see the plan, and I said that last year, and my concern was the young defensive tackles. That, among other things, kind of bit them. I agree. I think you need another pass catcher. I don't think I would go down the Odell Beckham Jr. Road again. I don't think he's a bad guy. I just don't think the fit would be right here.
Yeah, for me, I don't know if they need to retread any of those guys. I think it's not really a person per se. It's a style. They need a slot guy who can get some easy yards. You and I have talked about these easy yards. So they need the guy who can get some yards, easy yards for the offense, easy yards for Watson, whether it be a bubble screen, a quick screen, a crossing route, an RPO, something that's really easy. Maybe, a jet sweep, a guy who's explosive, sudden, and twitchy with the ball in his hands. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they can pick up one of these guys. And these slot guys are coming out of college are pretty dynamic now. They're playing in these wide open offenses. So, if they can't get a guy, I think there's some guys at the college level that they can get that can help immediately. And I think it's easy to help at receiver more than it is up front.
Yeah, fair enough. For the very reason you said, you're giving up, 6 years of development to some of the guys, and it'll be interesting to see. News that a tight end has been visiting with the Browns. So free agent tight end Jordan Akins is visiting with the Browns. See 37 catches, career high 5 touchdowns a season ago. It's interesting to note that he also played with Deshaun Watson and had some success with Watson. Again, you see Aaron Wilson, national reporter, saying a strong fit for their offense, great chemistry, and that the meeting is going well. I wouldn't be surprised if they looked another way for a tight end. I guess a red zone target might be the thought, somebody that kind of has a feel for the way Deshaun operates and scrambles. That would be the appeal to me to Akins. When you talk about Jordan Akins, what are your thoughts?
Well, I went back and watched some of his stuff. So he had 37 catches this year. He also had 37 catches in 220. He had 36 catches in 219. And when you watch him on film, he does have a really good connection. And the reason you see that is because they're working timing routes. They're working those crossing routes, those option routes, lots of seam routes, smash routes. He runs the full route tree from the tight end. Very good in the red zone. Again, he's very good on the scramble drill. Scramble drill is always a good indicator if you have a connection with the quarterback, because when he's going to scramble. What he likes to do when he scrambles. There's a number of plays where the play breaks down. Watson will get out of the pocket and he'll find Akins. So they have a really good connection. You can tell they've worked a lot together. He's very good in the red zone. He's 6'4" and a half. He's 250 pounds, so he's a big guy. He's got long arms, so I think he'd be a good fit, especially when the Browns go. He blocks pretty well, too. So when the Browns go 12 personnel, you got to bring in the big guys, and that creates matchup problems for a secondary or linebackers. Yeah,
and you still have Nick Chubb. And so, again, I get the thought. We'll see if they can agree on a price. All right, source confirms, this is from Benjamin Albright, source confirms multiple teams have been calling and inquiring about Jerry Jeudy of the Broncos. Price tag remains high. The Broncos are asking for a high second or a first-round pick. Patriots, Browns, Cowboys, among others, inquiring. I can't imagine Andrew Berry trading the second-round pick. If you're talking a third or a fourth, or a player, maybe. I don't think they're trading that second-round pick. They may trade back, but they lack the draft capital that they want to really give up, 42.
Well, Jerry Jeudy's going to give you what Cooper gives you. He's going to be an outside receiver. He's going to give you a number one guy. So he's a guy who's going to run those posts, those outs, those digs. Obviously, when you're elite talent, I think he's a pretty good talent. He's above average, so he can work in the slot. But I think the Browns can find guys, either some slot guys or some college guys that can fit and work in the slot a little bit better with the price tag. They're going to have to address the issue, though. They're going to have to get a guy again who can do get some easy yards. Judy's a guy who I think can play in the slot. He can play outside. He's proven that he can play inside as well. I would like to get, you would like them to get a guy in the slot that's kind of just primarily a slot guy. So he works on all those option routes and those RPOs and those crossing routes and those unders, things that kind of the things they wanted to do with Schwartz. And Schwartz gives you that when you see him out of camp, he gives you a lot of that. Now that hasn't carried over to the field, but when you see him in camp and at practice, he gives you a lot of those things you want from a slot receiver. He just hasn't been able to do it on the field yet.
All right, so let's take a look. This list is from Jack Duffin, Orange and Brown Report. Again, follow him on Twitter, always good stuff. Free agents that are out there that would be of interest to the Browns. He goes, T.Y. Hilton, age there might be a question there. Marquise Goodwin, Trent Sherfield, Chris Moore, Mecole Hardman, if the price drops, which the price on wide receivers that are in this free agent market has not really developed. Richie James played with the Giants. They signed a couple of guys, so he's going to be on the move. And Marquez Callaway. When you look at those names, who interests you? Who do you think fits? Who gives the Browns what you think they need?
Well, two guys stick out to me. One is Mecole Hardman. He's a guy who had really productive last year. He runs really well. He's good in space. When I look at some of his stats, last year he had 25 receptions. He's had 51 career receptions. He's had over 2,000 yards. Again, he's coming off a hip pelvis injury. It kind of scares you at some point, but he's a guy that in space can kind of get you those easy yards, the jet sweeps. He's a true slot with 4.3 speed. He's a guy that just needs to find a way to get the ball. And he doesn't have to be creative. It doesn't have to be a technical route tree. He just needs touches. The other guy I like is Richie James. And he's a guy for that same reason. He's a slot receiver. Last year he had 57 receptions for 69 yards with 4 TDs. Again, gives you that same kind of skill set in the slot, option routes, RPOs, ball in space, quick screens, etc. He's really, really good after catch. A knock on him would be he's 5'9", so he's not real big. But for me, that's what I like in a slot guy, a guy who's sudden and twitchy and can catch a ball. Again, we've talked about it, getting those easy yards so you get to 2nd and 4 and 2nd and 3 instead of always being 2nd and 6 or 2nd and 7, which the Browns are a lot. So those two guys stick out to me. The other guys are well-rounded guys, but those two guys are twitchy slot guys that I think could be really productive with Watson.
All right, before I let you go, my thought is the Browns need another weapon for Deshaun Watson to kind of unlock what this passing game can be. And I think Deshaun Watson is still an elite NFL quarterback. Of the free agents, and I know you've done a lot of draft work as well, give me a name or two that you think could help unlock the potential that this offense can have with Deshaun Watson, a wide receiver that the Browns can add that you think it brings that extra oomph for the offense.
Well, the first guy I'm going to talk about is, we talk about Mecole Hardman as a guy, but I really like DJ Chark with the Lions. I think he's a guy, maybe needs to change the scenery. He's got great, again, all the guys I talk about are very similar. And then there's a guy out of Houston named Nathaniel Tank Dell, a guy with great elite speed, had a great Senior Bowl. He'd be a guy that probably, I've heard him anywhere from the 1st round to the 3rd round. He's undersized. He's a true slot guy, but he's a true guy with speed, massive numbers, really, really good when he catches on scrimmage, can run those jet sweeps, option routes. Anybody who can kind of catch the ball and get some easy yards, and they don't have to be great route runners yet. They have to be good with the ball in their hands, and there's a big difference in the NFL at all levels. Some guys are great route runners. Amari Cooper's a great route runner. He's also good with the ball after catch, but there's some guys who just catch it. They catch it and they run with it, and they're really good with it in their hands, and that's what the Browns need. And I think those two guys stick out to me. Guys that haven't been mentioned would be the Shark Isle Lions and that Tank Dell out of Houston.
Lance Reisland, as always, great stuff. Appreciate the time and the insight. Thanks very much, Lance.
As always, thanks for having me.
Lance Reisland, make sure you check him out, plain dealer, cleveland.com. Always really good film breakdown and an understanding of the way the X's and O's fit together. We're going to step aside, take a quick time out. We continue talking Browns. Randy Gurzi from Dog Pound Daily straight ahead. Sports for CLE, we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Come back to go forward. Back to learning new things. Back to pursuing your dreams. Tri-C has flexible learning options to fit your life. And every year, more than 1,000 local companies provide Tri-C students with real-world learning. The right education can boost your lifetime earning power by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Start now with a college education you can afford. Tri-C, where futures begin.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
I am powerful beyond my wildest imagination.
I will define my future.
I will keep challenging myself to improve.
Because I am a future leader of this great nation.
I will be responsible for raising a beautiful family.
And educating not only my generation, but many more to come.
I will make a difference in my community.
And I will stand up for what I believe in.
I will not settle for simply chasing my dreams. I will achieve them.
Because I was given a chance.
An opportunity.
A home.
At Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America.
The ultimate leadership experience.
FCCLA has been one of the greatest experiences of my life.
It's made me who I am today.
Join us. We'll build a new future together.
Sports for CLE continues. We continue talking Browns. Let's welcome in Randy Gurzi from Dog Pound Daily. Randy, appreciate the time as always. I know you have written an article about a couple of the big name signings, Dalvin Tomlinson, Juan Thornhill. What do you think? What do you see? Just your thoughts on this free agent class so far.
I think both of those were home run signings. I know there was a lot of talk about, Javon Hargrave, players like that, Dramont Jones, but I feel like Dalvin Tomlinson was the absolute best fit for them. He came in cheaper than somebody like a Hargrave, and he does exactly what they need him to do, which is stop the run. He can give a little bit of pass rush. He's kind of underrated in that department, but that's not what you wanted him for. You've got guys that can do that. You needed that person to come in there, clog up some lanes, and keep the running attack from destroying you, and that's what he can do. Same thing with Juan Thornhill. You needed that back end center field type free safety, and that's exactly what they got there. John Johnson, for all his positives, that was just not something that he did incredibly well, and I think Thornhill is a major upgrade in that department.
I know you've also written an article. Browns were wise not to get into the bidding war that you had, and you heard they were, finalists for Hargrave, finalists for Jones. Jones, they offered more money, but the Seahawks front-loaded it. Browns back-loaded it. They couldn't do that. It seems like Andrew Berry kind of has a plan, and he more often than not sticks really closely to that plan.
Yeah, and I know it can be frustrating for fans, and that's why where I was kind of coming from in that article. It can be frustrating because you see these guys, you want them, and you kind of get your hopes up for them. But it's exactly like you said. There's a plan there. In the past with some other GMs, there might not have been such a great plan, or they really got themselves in trouble when they deviated from that plan and overpaid for somebody that they didn't need. So seeing Barry say, hey, this is where we're willing to go, this is what we want to pay, and if not, we're going to go to plan B, plan C, whatever. I think that was a smart way to approach it. And in the end, they landed what I still feel is the best player of the three for them.
Yeah, and Okoronkwo is a young guy that's ascending. So, again, they didn't go crazy spending, and it appears that they got some pieces that they need. At least you understand what the plan was. You can see where they were going with it. I know you've written another article. 3 young Browns headed for bigger roles in 2023 after the first wave of free agency. So number 3 is running back Jerome Ford. They took him in the 5th round, kind of has been waiting behind Kareem Hunt. Was okay on special teams, pretty good. Number 2 is Perrion Winfrey, defensive tackle, 4th round pick. It'll be interesting to see. I'm really curious to see what he does with Jim Schwartz. And number 1, Alex Wright. Again, a guy they knew was a little bit of a developmental guy because they took him out of UAB, so not quite one of the higher profile football programs where he won a lot in college because he's physically gifted. Take us through these and kind of what you think in terms of guys that are these guys in bigger roles for them.
I think Jerome Ford was kind of the no-brainer. We knew when the Browns drafted him last year that the plan was going to be, if they lose Kareem Hunt, kind of move him in his second year. So I think that one was a little bit, we all kind of see that coming. The other two, Perrion Winfrey and Alex Wright, I think that it really stands out with the moves they made, that they still have faith in these guys. Again, Landing Tomlinson, he's the run stuffer, not going to blow you away with his interior pass rush. But they did add a couple of guys, Maurice Hurst, Tristan Hill, who are more of those 3 tech, get after the quarterback type of players. Neither one of them have incredibly high ceilings, but I think they're more of insurance in case you still have disability or discipline issues with Perrion Winfrey. But I think that the hope for them is that Winfrey is going to be able to take a step and be that 3 technique pass rushing interior lineman. And then with Alex Wright, they went out, they got Okoronkwo. I'm sorry, I know I just said his name wrong. But they go out and they get him an ascending player, like you said, somebody who can deliver a pass rush. But he's also not a superstar. He's not incredibly strong against the run. You got the 270-pound Alex Wright, who they feel can set the edge a little bit better in the run, probably use the 2 of them as kind of a 1-2 combination. So I think bringing in a guy that's a pass rushing specialist shows that they still have high hopes for the 3rd round pick. Yeah,
and again, Jim Schwartz likes to play more defensive linemen than the previous defensive coordinator, so you're probably going to see more of a rotation anyway. But yeah, it's time for Winfrey and Wright to kind of step up. They've got guys that can do some things, but I think you're right. I think they want those 2 guys. They want to see a big jump in year 2. Along those lines, still some free agent defensive tackles, and I wouldn't rule out the Browns if they can find the right deal. I wouldn't rule out Andrew Berry signing one of these guys at least. So Calais Campbell was a late salary cap casualty from the Ravens, like the first day of spring training. Dean Lowry, Matt Ioannidis, Shelby Harris, and Adam Ghostis. You see the edge rushers, Fowler, Houston, Ingram, Dunlop, Trey Flowers, Shaq Lawson, all older guys, so you would expect not as many snaps, not as high a dollar figure. Of those guys, an edge rusher, defensive tackle, do you see them adding maybe one more if it's, in that $3, $4, maybe $5 million range, or do you think they're done?
I wouldn't be shocked at all if they did add another one. If I had to, give you my gut feeling, I think they might be done. I think that they've kind of set themselves up where they'd be comfortable going into the season with these guys as starters. If they get into training camp, somebody's still out there and it doesn't seem like it's working, or if somebody just falls to them in the draft, I think they set themselves up lovely to where they can draft for the best player available. Of those players that are mentioned, I really like Dante Fowler, but I don't think that he's really a fit now since you got Okoronkwo, who can do a lot of the same things that he can. But Matt Ioannidis is a player that I really like a lot as a defensive tackle. He's also played a little bit of end in his career, but I think he'd be a better fit as a defensive tackle. And he's had some high sack numbers in his career lately. Hasn't had as much. He's been known more for run stuffing. So I think he's somebody that could play in a rotation as well. But still, I don't think that they're going to go out and make any big moves right now at that position.
Yeah, again, you never say never if the right deal presents itself, but I think, I'm with you. I think they like what they have. I think they're satisfied with what they have heading into training camp. Yeah. This also from Dog Pound Daily. Browns targets whose price may be sliding. They go with Kyle Rudolph, tight end. Has had a number of years in the NFL as a Cincinnati native. And then Mecole Hardman, wide receiver for the Chiefs. We also know that Akins is here meeting a tight end. We mentioned that a little bit earlier. Do you see, a pass catcher, be it a tight end or a wide receiver, potentially being added?
I think that they are going to make a deal with Jordan Akins. It seems like things I'm hearing that meeting's going really well. I think that's an excellent fit. He's got that history with Deshaun Watson, and I know that their first priority was to get another tight end behind David Njoku. Harrison Bryant didn't really step up last year when they wanted him to. He had less than 8 yards per catch. Akins really had the best season of his career last year. So I think he's somebody that, he's 30. He's not going to be a long-term answer, but I think he's somebody that can come in and give him a couple of good years. With that happening, I don't think there's any interest in Kyle Rudolph at that point, assuming that does go through. At wide receiver, Juan Thornhill's already been getting on Twitter and trying to tell Mecole Hardman to come out there. I think he is a perfect fit. He's what they want. He's what they need. He can play the slot. He can get deep. If something were to happen with Jakeem Grant, he can also return kicks. So, Greg Newland is the one who wrote that article and talking about the price of sliding. I think last year we saw some crazy contracts going out to wide receivers. The wide receiver out, Christian Kirk, sorry, I was forgetting his name for a second. Christian Kirk in Jacksonville got a massive deal that nobody saw coming. But this year the receivers aren't getting that. So, perhaps that means Mecole Hardman's going to be a little bit more feasible for the Browns.
Well, and while we were talking about Jordan Akins, Aaron Wilson tweets out that he has signed a 2-year deal, maximum value $5.2 million, including incentives and signing bonus. So they do, in fact, have tight end 2, and he has a history of having some success with Deshaun Watson. Checks too many boxes for that, including the dollar figure. It makes a lot of sense for the Browns.
Yeah, I think, as soon as I saw that they brought him in, I thought that was an excellent idea, and it was a great fit for both sides.
Randy Gurzi and I are going to step aside, take one more time out. Other side of the break, we'll look at some free agent possibilities at middle linebacker for the Browns. We'll also talk best landing spots for some draft prospects. Sports for CLE, we'll be right back. Stay with us. Program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery, Partners in Education, where stars shine.
The Greater Cleveland Sports Hall of Fame celebrates the star athletes and notable sports figures who were born or have made their home in Greater Cleveland. It tells the story of discipline, commitment, perseverance, sportsmanship, and excellence in achievement. It encourages and inspires those who believe in sport and its direct impact on the well-being of our community. Go to clevelandsportshall.com or follow us on Twitter at GCLE Sports HOF for more details.
We continue talking Browns with Randy Gurzi from Dog Pound Daily. Let's take a look at the remaining free agent middle linebackers. This tweet from Jack Duffin. That these are guys that the Browns would have an interest in. Anthony Walker, we know that name. Question with him is he going to be full go health-wise? Rashaan Evans. Now, Devin Bush signed earlier today with the Seahawks, so cross him off the list. Ben Neiman and Jalen Smith. Randy, I don't know about you. If Anthony Walker is good to go and they can find the right price, I liked what he did. He seemed like the team really responded to him, especially the defensive guys. There's a lot of things that make sense if he is over that injury that cost him last year.
Yeah, I think out of that list, he's by far the best fit. It's, he's an underrated player. He doesn't miss a lot of tackles. He improved last year when you had all the bickering and going back and forth. He was kind of the glue of that locker room. He was the guy that was willing to step up and take responsibility when things weren't going very well. So yeah, I would love to see him come back. If he's not available, Ben Neiman would probably be my second best pick on that list. He's pretty good in coverage, plays well in run defense. The other ones I'm really not high on. Jalen Smith, he's a me first player that I think he's more name than anything else. So I think Neiman would be my fallback plan, but Anthony Walker is head and shoulders number one. Yeah,
let's hope he's good to go and that he and the Browns can come to terms. I'm with you. All right, what do you of the free agents left? What guy do you think, if the Browns sign, if Andrew Berry and the front office are able to sign somebody, what do you think is the home run for them? I like what they've done so far. What makes this, okay, they really got it done? Do you have a guy in mind?
Yeah, I think I'd go back to McCole Hardman on that one. He's the guy that I just feel like that, when they drafted Anthony Schwartz a couple of years ago, they wanted that player that could just stretch the defense. He's able to do that with his speed, but he's very inconsistent with catching the ball. You get somebody like Hardman who did run in the 4.3s. I think he broke under 4.3 at his pro day. He's just the guy that can really stretch the field. He's not going to be somebody that's going to come in there and get 1,000 yards for you, but he can play in the slot, like I said. And just the defenses have to respect him. They have to back off a bit, and I think that would help players like Donovan Peoples-Jones and help David Bell when he's out there. And of course, Amari Cooper is going to do what Amari Cooper does. But I think that he's a guy that can really round out that offense.
Yeah, and to your point, I think it would also help Njoku and the new tight end Akins now, just giving him some space, because you force the defense to not only the length of the field, but the width of the field as well. All right, before I let you go, This is from Bleacher Report, best landing spots for NFL's fastest rising prospects. And they have a defensive tackle from South Carolina, Zach Pickens. Best landing spot, Bears, Browns, Lions, Chargers. Dazzled the combine with a 4.89 40-yard dash, tied for a position best 9.8 in the broad jump. Notched top 4 finishes for DTs in the 3-cone and the 20-yard shuffle. That means his relative athletic score, RAS, is going to be high. I know the Browns do look at that. What do you think about Pickens and a potential fit with the Browns?
I like Pickens. I've actually gone and seen him play live for Casey Kinnaman, who comes on the show a good bit. He and I actually went out into South Carolina a couple years ago, and we were talking about him. While he was there at Carolina, he kind of never really took that next step that you want to see him take. He had so many physical gifts, but he just kind of, seemed like he didn't really get where you wanted to see him go. But then, at the combine, you saw what it is that people like about him, a lot of athleticism. He's a little bit under 300 pounds, so he'd be more of the 3 technique, playing along the same position, kind of like a Perrion Winfrey. I think that in the right round, and round 4 maybe, I'd be happy with him as a selection, just because you don't know if he's going to be able to develop or not. But I do think he's got a good bit of upside. If he goes much earlier than that, I don't see Cleveland pulling the trigger.
Randy Gurzi, as always, thanks so much for the time and the insight. Appreciate it very much. Thanks, Randy.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, Randy Gurzi, make sure you check him out. Always really good stuff on Dog Pound Daily. Each week, in conjunction with the Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program, we recognize a role model student from somewhere in the state of Ohio. Today, we head to Cincinnati and Princeton High School. Soleil Williams is a senior at Princeton. She is a state champion on the girls basketball team. They won the Division I state title a week ago. She is also the Ohio Gatorade Female Basketball Player of the Year. In the classroom, getting it done as well, and a Division I recruit to the Southeastern Conference's Texas A&M. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program is proud to salute Soleil Williams from Princeton High School, this week's Shining Star. At first glance, Soleil Williams looks like a typical high school senior. She smiles easily, is well-liked, and enjoys being around her friends. But put a basketball in her hands and Williams is something special, and she's focused on getting better.
I would really say my conditioning and my shot, honestly, but I can never stop working on, my ball handling. I can never stop that. So that I really try to work on any and everything because I can never be good enough for anything that I got going on in my basketball career.
She's a bona fide baller, man. This kid is a player. She's a Gatorade Player of the Year. She's a Player of the Year for her conference, Player of the Year for our district. I mean, what more can you say about this young lady? She single-handedly carries her team on her back for the last 2 years that I've been here. It's been amazing to watch. It's been amazing to watch her play at a high level, and she works for everything she gets, man. I promise you, I've been in this gym at 5:30 in the morning so many times throughout my time being here at Princeton because she wants to work on her game. So she earns everything that she gets, and I'm so proud of her.
Williams is ranked as the top player in the state of Ohio and among the top in the country. She can score from all three levels, shot 52% from the field this season, averaging better than 20 points a game. Williams can create her shot off the dribble and is a willing passer to her teammates.
That's the main part in my, skill. That's what I'm really known for, is get to the basket, being able to create my own shot and create shots for others as well. And I take a very big part in that is get my teammates involved because I know once they get involved, we all going to build together and bring out a W.
In this, her senior season, Soleil helped the Vikings earn the W they wanted most, the one in the title game in Dayton.
It was a big goal, honestly. In the beginning of our year, we, made goals, and we accomplished those goals. We haven't been here since 2014, so it's been good to, bring these thoughts and emotions back to our supporters and fans and family. But yeah, that's just the goal. That was the main goal.
Williams earned Gatorade Player of the Year in Ohio this season. She's a B student in the classroom and volunteers as an aide at an elementary school. Next year, Soleil will attend Texas A&M and play in the SEC, arguably the top conference in the country.
That's a big deal, honestly. That's one of the hardest, conferences. So I know I can, better myself and, play on those big stages, and I'm very excited for that moment. Texas A&M was, for me, honestly, they were a family. They comfort me. When I first went there on my first visit, it was just like home. It was like nature. And I just knew that's where I wanted to be with Coach Joni and Coach Newton, just all of them. It was just a family, and I did not see that anywhere else, really, besides them.
Extremely skilled young lady, talent beyond her years. This young lady has been in the gym nonstop working on her craft, and I'm so excited to watch her next year at Texas A&M. Absolutely, she wants to play against the best, and she wants to be coached by the best as well. Coach Joni is an amazing coach and her coaching staff, so she's going to be in great hands.
While not exactly sure what she will major in at Texas A&M, Williams seems to like working with numbers.
My favorite subject is math, honestly. I love math.
What do you like about math?
I don't know. It's just been something so easy and fun to me. Honestly, me and my dad, we're both math freaks, so we really like, figuring out problems with numbers and things like that. It's a very important piece in my, career. My parents they don't really check on me much about my grades because they know I'm already on top of it. And I know in order for me to be able to work on the court, I got to be able to work in school as well. So I take a very big part in that, just like how I do with basketball.
It sounds like Williams has her priorities in order and is ready for success at the next level. If you know a student who deserves recognition, we want to hear about them, and you can nominate them completely online. Go to OhioLottery.com. Find the About section. Click on Partners in Education. There you will see links to nomination forms. Nominate that student as an academic all-star, and they could end up being featured as our next shining star. Congratulations to Soleil Williams and the Princeton Vikings, the Division I girls state basketball champs. The boys will take center stage state championship for all 4 division in boys high school basketball this Sunday at the University of Dayton Arena. That's going to do it for this edition of Sports for CLE. We will see you back here Monday at 4 o'clock. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you Monday at 4 on Sports for CLE.